I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, June the 7th, where we sell fat cattle every day, it seems now. Not any higher, of course, but lower, but I think that's what the industry was after, is having a market more often than just on Friday for 30 minutes. But now it seems we sell just a handful every day, but it's not helping the competition or the market any. But let's look at the board on Thursday. June live cattle futures down a quarter at 107.60. August up 12 cents at 104.80. Your out fronts were progressively higher, but not much, just around 40 cents at the most. But the board opened up down hard and then come back. So the board's kind of got some game, and that's encouraging, because it seems like here lately, whenever we get to running it down, then with those computer trades, it just rolls down. But it was down hard and then come back respectively before the close. August feeder cattle down 17 cents at 139.27. September was down a dime at 139.60. Look at some of your grains. December corn was up 5 cents at 438.5. November beans down 2 cents at 88.95 and a quarter. But let's look at the fat cattle trade through Wednesday. Of course, we sold some basis cattle on Monday. We had a little more trade on Tuesday, a little more cleanup on Wednesday, but we still haven't sold half of what we really need to sell. But we're at 41,900 head through Wednesday, and then had some more similar type cleanup trade on Thursday, and it appears that we're going to have to sell some cattle in the southern plains at least on Friday too. But Iowa, about 8,600 head confirmed. Live sales from 114 to 115. Dress sales 182 all the way to 188, depending on when they come, but mostly from 184 to 185. Nebraska, 12,500 head confirmed on Thursday, from 113 to 115 live, and 183 to 186 dressed, and that's kind of the market. And these prices are about $2 to $3 lower than last week. Kansas had a few sales, about 700 head on Thursday, 112 to 114, mostly 113. But we'll see some more trade on Friday, and then depending on what the board does, if it doesn't do anything, it'll probably be steady. But with that comeback on Thursday, if it happened to open up a lot higher, could squeeze, getting a dollar closer to steady. Box beef cutout values have been fairly steady, jostling around in a narrow range this week. On Thursday afternoon, choice cuts 222 and a quarter, up 14 cents. Selects at 207.16, down 2 cents. Still here in Visalia, California, at the LMA conference convention, and they're going to be having the World Champion Livestock Auctioneer contest with interviews coming up on Friday, and then of course the contest on Saturday at Tulare Stockyards in California here. And it's going to be, I think, the first time they've ever had an all dairy competition. But we're going to be seeing spots on Saturday, and for those of us that are in love with regular cattle and not so much the dairy, might take some of the fun out of it, but it could be more competitive. Who knows? Still selling cattle in a competitive market, but the LMA members taking on some issues. Dealer trust is one of the big issues, trying to protect the sale barns and making sure that their consigners get paid for cattle, and that's a good thing. And also on tracking some of these cattle in case we should have an outbreak, and that deal's coming somewhere down the line, and we probably need to embrace it sooner than later. But give you a little update on this Beyond Meat fake meat deal. And you know how that, since the initial public offering of that stock, Beyond Meat has just shot up. Now over 300% over the initial public offering, which started out at $25 a share. But just still going up. They said that the first quarter earnings come in, and it was better than expected. Well, so this stock now has a market value of $5.8 billion. The first quarter, they still lost $6.6 million as a company, but it wasn't as bad as what they thought, so I guess that's a good deal. Wish we could get that in the live cattle industry. But they're expecting revenues will double in 2019 with a full year revenue of about $210 million. But it still seems kind of overpriced at $5.8 billion. But that's the new clicky thing, and I feel like that a lot of those same funds that are wrecking this cattle market on the shallow futures are investing in that fake meat. But let's talk about some of your feeder cattle markets on Thursday. Of course, Pratt, Kansas always has a big sale on Thursday. 3,300 head in Pratt. Feeder steers actually $2 to $4 higher than last week, and we noticed the turnaround right at the middle of the week there when the board was so much better than what we thought it was going to be, and recovered most of the losses towards the end of the week last week when it really fell out of bed. But some big individual quotes that come through on Thursday, a lot of good sales. Clarinda, Iowa, 61 head, weighed 910 pounds at 133.35 for John Anderson and Frank Hepker there in Clarinda, Iowa. The biggest quote that we saw comes from Max Oliveira just down the road here out in California at Turlock, California, and he's putting on a big sale with all of his peers around here close for the LMA convention. But at their big special at Turlock, included in there, 335 head of steers in one whack, weighed 9 1/4 at 120.50. Pretty good price for some big heavy steers like that, sitting in this hot, desolate part of the country here, right there in east central California. But look at a market way out east. Bluegrass Stockyard South in Stanford, Kentucky on Thursday. 66 head of 792 pound steers. That's scaring the heck out of 800 pounds there at 140.80. Pretty good price there. But the big story on Thursday as far as selling cash feeder cattle was in Ogallala, Nebraska. Dwayne Mays and company there had their big barbecue special. About 5,200 head of cattle in that sale, and I mean, did they set the world on fire. It's just like nothing ever happened. Get up in that country where they have those good cattle, a lot of farmer feeders, and you saw your farmer feeders in that part of the country more interested in the lighter weight cattle. We're starting to see that some of these bigger cattle in other places, especially in the plains, selling so well because they're kind of scared of the feed costs here, but not up there in the farmer feeders in the corn belt, because they still want those cattle that'll put away a lot of corn. They haven't got their crop in the bin yet, but they still got a lot of corn from years before, and they're going to add value to that because they're not trusting this harvest market. But look at some of these prices. Look at Cattle Market Central's market report from Ogallala, Nebraska on Thursday, and well tested on all the weights there on that barbecue special. But look at some of these weighted averages here. 716 head of steer calves in the 5-weight category, average 553 at 174.95. 537 head of 6-weight steers, average 645 at 166.86, and 491 head of 7-weight steers in Ogallala, average 740 pounds at 159.26. Look at some heifers. 733 head of the 5-weight heifer calves, average 555 at 153.18 for those fall heifer calves. 614 head of 6-weight heifers, average 635 at 147.01, and 480 head of 7-weight heifers, average 728 pounds at 134.05. But the big individual quote, the best we've seen for a long time out of Ogallala, look at this, 62 head of 722 pound steers in Ogallala, Nebraska bring 169.50. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.